What's good, guys? This is James bringing you another deck profile for the Monaresclub, youtube.com. Today I'm bringing you kind of a homebrew I've been working on since the Battle Evolution spoilers. Now, unfortunately, it uses a bunch of cards from Battle Evolution, so I don't actually have the cards for it yet to make it in paper, because of the delay on the products coming to the United States. First we don't get healthcare, and now we don't get Battle Evolution Booster. How much worse can it get? But I'll just be doing the profile on Shenron's Lair because I don't have the physical cards yet, so bear with me here. This is a tricolor cell deck. Now, this deck might look like it's kind of a product of a bygone era from like late 2019, with all the tricolor nonsense that was going on, but I've actually been very satisfied with the results this deck's been putting up so far in testing. It's still in fairly early stages of testing because I haven't gotten to play any paper reps with it yet. But I've been liking what it's been doing, so I wanted to share it with you guys because I've been very excited, and I know there's a good lot of you out there who really enjoy this leader as much as I do, and just kind of want to see what the next stage of our perfect evolution might be, and I think this might be it. So let's get into the deck. So the reason we're playing blue instead of just green-yellow is for this Violent Rush Bojack primarily. So this guy's a newer card from the Anniversary box. You might have seen it doing work at Her Place Horror Miami in some Mecha Frieza builds and stuff, but I think it's really good in this deck too. So what this does is it's a unique barrier. It arrives for blue-yellow, which we can arrival off of Zamasu Sacred Disbelief really easily because our leader is green and yellow. And then it has, when you activate the Aegis skill of it, you draw a card, and obviously it has Aegis as well. So what Aegis does, if you're not familiar, it is kind of a more obscure mechanic. What it does is it lets you discard a combination of cards that match the Aegis color requirements, which in this case is blue-yellow, so you have to discard a blue and a yellow or a blue-yellow card. And then you get to untap up to 2 energy, doesn't matter the color, and then you also get to draw a card with Bojack's skill specifically. So this is incredible energy management, especially considering you don't have to untap just blue and yellow energy. You can untap any of your green energy as well for defensive arrival plays, which is what we're taking advantage of Bojack with in this deck. That's also why you'll see we aren't playing any Unisons in the deck, because Unisons take away your defensive combo step, which is when you'll get to do all of your arrival plays on your opponent's turn. So if your opponent, just sends all their characters in at your Unison, you're not gonna get a defensive step, so you're just gonna waste all of your potential defensive combo power and whatnot, and just lose all your energy effectively by them doing that. So we're not playing any Unisons, and we also tap out quite a bit as well, so we don't necessarily want to have the extra clunk from Unisons. The other thing I'm going to point out is that this deck, it looks clunky. I'll admit, at first glance, this deck looks really clunky. It has a lot of 10Ks and some extra cards as well on top of that. But I'll say, first of all, this deck has been a lot smoother in testing. Once I got kind of the hang of how to handle all my energy and whatnot, then I thought it would be as well, because between Aegis and Sensu Bean, you get so much energy management that you can survive with all of your 10Ks. Not to mention your Surge leader also getting to Surge, so getting to Awaken whenever you need to is fantastic. You can not only dump 10Ks under your leader, but you can also, then you get to untap energy as well. So if you're in a really tight bind, you can just untap put some 10Ks under him and untap. So that's just incredible. The reason we're going with the Cell Surge leader, besides the fact that he's close and dear to my own heart, is the fact that you get incredible filtering with his, look at the top 5, and he is a multicolor leader, so you get to take advantage of both Zamasu for Bojack and green specific cards as well, like, I guess he needs a yellow leader, but you don't, like Hidden Potential and some other cards like that. As well as, Super 13 and stuff, because he's also an Android leader. He has the Android trait, conveniently enough. So, without further ado, I'll get into the card by card. I know that was kind of a longer intro there, but I'll get into the card by card right now. So, we've got our blue package of Sensu Bean, Hidden Potential, Zamasu, and Violent Rush Bojack. So, the reason we're playing these cards is, I already explained the Zamasu and Bojack interaction. I want Bean not just for the extra energy management. It has incredible synergy with, Arrival itself as well by giving you the defensive energy management, but it also gives you some extra pitches for Bojack, because I don't want to necessarily rely on finding only Bojack to proc Aegis. I'm okay pitching, like a Sensu Bean or a Hidden Potential plus, like a Great Ape or Cell Dark Parasite or whatever, or like an extra 9-drop or something as well. That's fine. You're only going down 1 card, and you're getting 2 energy back because of the draw ability on Bojack. So that's actually about the same rate as a Sensu Bean. You get 2 energy back, and you're down a card. So you're actually kind of like doing a little mini, or kind of a super Sensu Bean in some ways. You don't get the pump, but you get to untap 2, and you're going down 1 card, and it's potentially going down 0 cards if you then pitch something that you can use out of your drop area. So that's just incredible right there. We have Android 17, Impending Crisis. This is just a generic negate for the deck. This could be just like some shocking death balls or something like that if you're feeling kind of scared defensively. I like the Android 17 a lot in this deck because it can dump the Cell Android Absorber and the Perfection's Prey Android 18. It can also, I believe, it dumps 4 or less. So yeah, you can also dump the Android 13 Mission Begins if you want some spot removal as well. So it can set up your discard pile, and then you can start getting the Cell Android Absorber engine going in games where that is more relevant. And you want to start using your energy early on those plays instead. And it also can, again, get the Android 18 set up in the drop along with the Cell so that you can make your easy 12 off of the Cell Dark Parasite for your finisher in the Cell Secret Rare, as well as making easy 9s with the for Cell Unthinkable Perfection along with Broly All Out Assault. Hidden Potential is kind of a... I think it's got some hidden potential in the meta, that's for sure. It doesn't hit anything out of like Dark Broly, but there are a lot of matchups where you're still going to hit 4 costs or less. It's gonna be some great value because you do have to leave up 2 energy for this card, but you get 1 back, and especially in a deck with Sensu Bean, you can then use Sensu Bean to get 2 back, and then go into an Arrival play or something like that. This card is just really good. It helps buff up our blue count for Aegis as well as just for charging to get blue for Sensu Bean. And it's just a really solid role player in the deck. I've really liked it. We've got Quick Sweep 17 to go with the Cell Android Absorber, just for the old school Cell Surge play, to get the value going out of the drop area. Just on 3 of each, because again, this guy will set them up fairly easily on his own, as well as this isn't the primary game plan anymore. It's kind of a backup game plan if you have nothing else to spend your energy on, or against like hand control decks, you can just start pitching these guys and then getting them back, and you're just going to kind of grind with your opponent. So these guys can be really helpful there. But we're just on 3 of each because of that. Zamasu, obviously, it's just an incredible super combo. We're running with 4 for the Arrival for Violent Rush Bojack. And then, we don't need the Jiro super combo to set up our Arrivals anymore because we have the Super 13, which I'll get to in just a second. We've got Great Ape, Son Goku Saiyan Instincts, the MVP, great with your leader, pitch it off your leader, remove it, draw 2, the good old-fashioned synergy. But it also is really, really good pitch for Aegis, too. It's, it's just, this card's just insane in this deck. Perfection's Prey, it does have this oft-overlooked ability where if you have 5 or less cards in your hand, you reduce the combo cost of it in your hand and battle area by 1. So this is really useful as a backup Arrival enabler if your hand is looking a little lower, which it's pretty easy to get to 5 or less in this deck. We don't usually have a huge hand, and then this can set up your Arrival for 1 card. It also has this ability where if you have just a Cell battle card in play, you can pay a green and play it from your drop area. So if you, on turn 5 or 4, if you haven't used your Awaken yet, you can, play out your Dark Parasite, get a 9 in play, do Cell Perfection Surpassed, or Unthinkable Perfection, and then you'll have an extra energy up and only Cell in play, so you can do Android 18, and then you have 12 set up for your Secret Rare. Android 13, the mission begins. So this guy is awesome. I was trying Krillin and 18 out, but this card's just bonkers good. Double Strike on a 20k is awesome for not only just pressuring your opponent's life, but also for pressuring their unisons, which is normally something we've kind of struggled with in the past with this kind of Cell Successor strategy, because we're just kind of dirtling around and not building up our board. We just get a bunch of single strikers, even if they're huge. They're not, threatening the opponent's unisons that much. So having Double Strike is awesome. But it also has this awesome ability of auto, at the start of your opponent's turn, they choose 2 of their battle cards and KO them. Your opponent only gets to keep a battle card for 1 turn, essentially. It also has great synergy with the leader, the Mass Crusher Ball effect on the backside, because if your opponent, say they have, 2 or 3 battle cards in play, you can just, before, the Crusher Ball would feel kind of lousy at that spot, because they'd still get to swing in with their things they had in play, and it didn't matter if they had more things to play out of their hand. But now, the Android 13 will KO 2 of their battle cards at the start of the turn, so it'll get rid of a good chunk of their board, if not their whole board. And then everything else they play after that to try and get their board back is going to come back in rest mode. So that's just it's kind of this kind of hidden synergy that I didn't really realize with the deck until I started playing with it, and it's just awesome. It also has this activate main. Pay 1, send it from your drop area to your warp. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards with entry cost 3 or less and KO it. So it's just good little spot removal. It's another, decent card to pitch off your leader while still giving you a card in hand, quote unquote, as well as a decent pitch off of Android 17 to give you that little spot removal ability as well. And that pairs reasonably well with your leader. If you can't establish one of these in play, you could, pay 1, remove it, and then just pop another thing with your leader ability. Broly All-Out Assault is... He's Broly All-Out Assault. He's never really been bad in the meta. I feel like people just kind of went off him for whatever reason, just kind of forgot about him, but he's really good. Rest moding anything and drawing a card when he comes in is awesome. Like, I'll still pay 2 energy for this guy every day of the week. As well as getting to KO battle cards with energy cost greater than the opponent's energy. It's just fantastic. It's also the best card to go with Bojack here, because you can very easily get a green-yellow in your combo area with, say, Super 13, and then a rival of Broly, rest mode, one of their energy or one of their battle cards or their leader, anything. It's like a Super Zamasu. And then pitch a card for Aegis, restand 2 energy, draw a card, and then you have 2 energy, and your green-yellow is still in your combo area because you haven't ended your defensive step yet, so you can arrival a second Broly, or, like an Android 13 or whatever you have in your hand you want to arrival. It's just awesome. It's almost like it's almost a game-ending combo when you get to pull off that kind of thing. It's just so much tempo, so much value, such a massive board swing. This guy's awesome. And, it sets up 9 reasonably well for Cell if you can get a 3 in play, like, say, an Android Absorber. And it also sets up 12 if you can get 2 of them into play for your Cell's, unspeakable abomination. So this guy, MVP of the deck, the reason to be playing this kind of tricolor combo with Bojack and himself. Super 13, Course of the Trio. So this guy is finally a Successor card with Deflect. Unfortunately, we're not really hard casting him too much in this deck. It is an option. It's pretty easy to get 7 going with Broly and, like an Android 17 or Quick Sweep or something, but not really the primary use for him in this deck. He's a Deflect triple attack Successor for 2. But the reason we're playing him is for this permanent. If your leader is yellow or an Android card, you reduce the combo cost of this card in your hand by 1. So this just sets up your arrivals for a single card. It's awesome. It's also an Android card, which has some decent synergy if you add some of the other Android cards that, cards that want Androids in your deck. I don't have any in here right now, but, that helps that as well. It's also, the auto only works if your leader's Android 13, unfortunately, but, you can still get a 30k triple attack into play at the bare minimum if this is just rotting away in your hand. So that's not, I won't sneeze at just having extra utility. Our main win condition is Cell Unthinkable Perfections. This guy, he's as good as he's always been. He doesn't have to flex, so you have to be careful against decks with blue. Blue's not super in vogue right now, and with all of our double strikers and just our beefy Brolys, our Bojacks, all these things we're rivaling super aggressively, we can pressure Unisons pretty effectively, even big ones like Baby, Dark Parasite, and stuff. But, if they have a Unison with 2 markers on and they have, a decent chunk of cards in your hand, they're probably going to have a trunk, so you don't have to go into this necessarily. You can just wait and do like a Deflect Successor, one of these 2 as well. But against every other color, it's absolutely bonkers good. They can't KO it with Frieza Charismatic Villain because it's a 9. And it's a triple strike. Look at your opponent's hand. Rip 3 of their battle cards and negate the non-keyword skills on your opponent's leader for the duration of the turn. If you can drop this against, like, say, Dark Broly, they cannot win. Like, they just automatically lose the game on the spot for the most part. If you can get them below 4 life, it's just, that's the game. This card is insanely good. I love it to death, and this is why I've been sticking with Cell Successor all this time. Cell the Dark Parasite, just a fantastic role player. It's been since set 10, sets up your life, gets you extra cards in your hand, sets up your successors. It does everything you could possibly want for the deck. So this card's awesome. And then, of course, the Cell Unspeakable Abomination Secret Rare, because it's so easy to set up in this deck. So that's the main deck right here. It's mostly looking to kind of play slow, control the game, control the pace of the game, control the tempo of the game. Get to turn 5 ideally. You can go off on turn 4, but turn 5 gets you the extra ability on the Cell Xeno Unspeakable Abomination, and it's lights out if you can get that going. Generally, you want to save your Awaken for as long as possible because you want to get that extra energy back on the same turn you do kind of your big Successor plays, but you know, you've got to do what you got to do, and so the abilities on the back also help stall the opponent incredibly well. So in the side deck here, I've just kind of done a little bit of an Eggman thing where I just have some potential cards I've considered. You know, obviously, like, extra Self-Awakeners are okay. You might want to do crit just for the hand control, or you might want to do the double strike ones just for unison removal. Flying Nimbus is one I've considered, but it's actually, this deck handles aggro quite well. Between the Broly taking care of tall aggro and the, you know, the Zamasu and Broly and Hidden Ambition taking care of, and Android 13 taking care of wide aggro, and Senzu Bean too. It's kind of, yeah, it's aggro is a lot better of a matchup if you can manage your hand correctly than this deck looks like it would have. You can also do these guys to help buff up the number of Super 13s. I felt like 4 of this was fine, especially with the dig ability of Cell to set up our hand. Frost Deadly Poison's okay in some matchups, and it gives you like some extra stuff for Bojack in to set up your energy. These guys are just extra little stuff to set up Successor or Rival. Super 17 Hellstorm Unleashed is a card I love to death. You know, it's like one of my favorite cards along with Unthinkable Perfection, but I feel like the meta is a little gone past it. Most decks can Awaken now on their own. You can't really deny them the life as much, but I would definitely at the very least sideboard this for the matchups where it is relevant, because it's such a backbreaker in those matchups. So going through the lines of play with the deck, you really just want to charge your multicolor on turn 1 if possible. You can get by without even charging a multicolor. It's a little tougher, but you generally want to end up getting a multicolor charged by around turn 3, as well as getting a blue energy set up by about, you don't really need a blue until around turn 3 unless you're leaving up hidden potential. Oftentimes the blue I'm using, if I don't want to tap out, will just be a Senzu Bean. I'll just charge the first Senzu Bean I draw and then have that set up all the other ones. But if you have the chance to, like, a turn 1 hidden potential charge is also perfectly fine. After that, you just kind of play reactively based on what your opponent's doing, try and stopgap them, what they're doing, get to turn 4, turn 5, play your big Successors, slam the door shut in 1 turn. So that's the deck, guys. I hope you liked it. If you got any questions, comments, hit me up in the comment section below. Love hearing from you guys. Make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.